Good afternoon, Ambassador. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, let's start by asking you a little bit how you became involved with the wetlands all the way down there in the Maldonado region of Uruguay.
Well, I was living in a part called La Barra, and I had a holistic online directory for which I was doing little iPod videos of local entrepreneurs. And somehow or other, a lady called Patricia Cook got hold of my name, and she contacted me with the thought that I should, instead of making videos of the entrepreneurs, do some promotion for the local wetlands and the idea that it should become a conservation area. So I did this with the local ornithologist, Thierry Rabau, and we did some walks and looked around, filmed some birds and some wetlands. But in order to make a video, I needed to get more people involved, which I did by taking the teenagers that had been working with me on the green pages and getting them involved in the wetland project that eventually grew into the Wetland Warrior Trust.
Aha, okay. So I guess an obvious next question would be that you must be really into wetlands.
Well, really into wetlands. When I was young, I used to live on the south coast of England, and my parents were members of the Wildfowl and Wetland Trust in Arundel. And they used to take me there for walks, feeding the ducks and all that kind of stuff. And I had many pleasurable hours there, little realizing that later on in life I would actually be contacting them with a view to starting an eco park in South America.
Okay, so you've mentioned that this grew very much from yourself and the videos that you were making and your background, if you like, as an ecological consumer and your friendship and work with Patricia. And this kind of grew into something that's become known, I hope my pronunciation's right, of the Defensores de Humedales. So tell me a little bit about the Defensores de los Humedales and who's involved and a little bit about that.
Okay, well, I already mentioned that the teenagers that were my translators and help became involved in the project. And what they did was they opened it up to a whole spectrum of other teenagers. And we ended up having everybody from young kids, little ones taking walks in the wetlands, to a couple of young rappers from Maldonado who helped us with the song, and they were very, very interested in what we were doing and came up with some divine work for us. And it wasn't just the young people. Through the song that we made, Patricia Cook and I ended up touting this around the local intendencia, the local government office, telling them what we'd done and saying, come on, what can we do with this? How can we take this one step further? And we ended up getting together with not only the local administrators for the wetlands who've already been working on conserving it, but didn't know how to take it forward to involve the local people. It was just on paper. And then we ended up meeting a young lady from the university who was inspired by the fact that I had as a screensaver a picture of one of the local crabs, which happens to be her speciality. So we ended up getting the university involved. So we had age ranges from like 8 months to the age of 80 and social spectrum, everybody, but mainly the youth. A lot of it was really, really brought together by their enthusiasm and their desire. We didn't intend to make a song, we wanted to make a video about wetlands, but we ended up going in a recording studio and making a 3.5-minute ballad.
So you've got all these different people. You've got the old, the young, if you like, the rich and the poor from all different social spectra, and they're all coming together for this ecological project. And I guess everybody's role within that is very different. Tell us a little bit, as we draw to an end now, what your role and responsibilities are as an ambassador, because I know that this role of ambassador came out of your work closely with the Intendencia in Maldonado, and they appointed you as ambassador. So tell us a little bit about what that means.
Well, it basically means that I talk to everybody that I meet about the wetlands of Maldonado in Uruguay.
And how about on a day-to-day basis? Is there any kind of internet work that entails? Or?
Yes, because of course I'm the one that used to make the videos, I continue to do artwork and posters, and I administrate the Facebook page and keep that going, making sure that there are updates every week, that kind of stuff. But as an ambassador, I've been representing the Maldonado wetlands in England with the WWT consultancy arm, who go around the world helping to design and maintain eco parks from wetlands. They have a lot of experience. They have 9 sites in England, obviously the one I mentioned that I visited in my youth. And we have, in fact, been able to bring all the aspects together. And they're coming to visit in Uruguay in February to do the first of a series of pieces of work to make the eco park a reality.
So it really has come full circle from your visiting the UK wetlands as a child with your parents into the English people coming over now to Uruguay, which is obviously a major 10,000 mile journey in the coming months. So tell us, that's a really nice point, I think, to end it, but also to ask you finally, what happens now? What does the future hold?
Interestingly enough, I had a beautiful email from my young assistant, Sophia, 2 days ago to tell me that the young rapper, Fernando Fernandez, El Jefe, has got some interviews for his band, and he was phoning her up to say, tell me what I need to say about the wetlands. What would you like me to say? It's interesting to see how involved the youth still are and how they are taking the project forward. Sophia, for example, has an appointment to take part in a debate on the environment with the local government on the 7th of December, in fact.
So it's been very empowering for all the teenagers that are involved. In conclusion, tell us a little bit about the official future, if you like. Now that the people are coming from England and everybody's very empowered by all of this, what's the next 1, 2 or 3 stages going forward with the eco park and how all this will tie together?
Well, the first and most important stage has already been achieved. It was on its way to being achieved, but I like to think that the wetland warriors were the final push that made Ricardo and Sylvia, the Intendencia, enabled them to set that area aside as an actual park. Obviously, the second part is the people from England coming. Then they will act upon their suggestions. And then, of course, the third stage is the park itself, with our magnificent Depende de Todos song as their theme tune.
Fantastic. It's really, really great to hear the seed or the germ of an idea start off and spring from the ground and end up as a beautiful oak tree. I think you've achieved, as all of us do, think you've achieved something really spectacular and special down there in Uruguay. So thanks very much for your time today.
Thank you very much indeed.